The mahogany conference table stretched before me like a battlefield. On one side sat my family, Mom, Dad, and my younger sister Claire, all draped in expensive suits that screamed old money. On the other side, I sat alone in my simple black blazer from Target, feeling every bit the outsider they had always treated me as. "Just sign the papers, Margaret," Dad said, sliding the stack of documents across the polished surface. His voice was firm, final. "It's for the best. Claire has the business degree. She knows how to run grandfather's company." I stared at the inheritance transfer papers, my grandfather's final gift to me, a 51% controlling stake in Montgomery Technologies, worth over $200 million. His will had shocked everyone by naming me, not Claire, as his successor. He had passed 3 months ago, and they had spent every moment since trying to undo his decision. "I earned my engineering degree while working full-time," I said quietly, my fingers tightening around the edge of the table. "I understand the technical side of our products better than anyone." Mom let out a small, disdainful sigh, flicking a perfectly manicured hand. "Please, Margaret. Working as a waitress and taking online courses hardly compares to Claire's MBA from Harvard. Don't embarrass yourself." Claire smirked, adjusting her car-year watch. "Don't worry, sis. You can stay in R&D. Someone has to do the grunt work." 10 years of their belittling flashed through my mind. Claire attending private schools while I was sent to public ones, family vacations I wasn't invited to because I was too busy working, their refusal to help with my college expenses while Claire had a free ride. But grandfather had seen something in me they never had. During his final months, we spent hours discussing his vision for the company's future. "You have the heart of an innovator, Margaret," he had told me. "Claire sees dollar signs. You see possibilities." And now they wanted me to throw that all away, to sign over my birthright to the sister who had never worked a day in her life. "If you sign now, we'll offer you a generous severance package," Dad added smoothly. "Enough to start fresh somewhere else. It's more than fair." I touched the small key pendant hanging around my neck, grandfather's last gift to me. My fingers curled around it like a lifeline. "What about the CEO interview?" I asked. "Shouldn't we wait until—" "The board already approved Claire," Mom cut in, her tone clipped. "This is just a formality. Sign the papers, Margaret. Don't make this difficult." I reached for the pen. Claire's eyes gleamed with triumph. Then I remembered grandfather's words. "When the time comes, trust your instincts. You're stronger than you know." I set the pen down. "No." The room fell silent. Dad's expression darkened. "Excuse me?" I said no. I pushed my chair back and stood, my pulse steadying with resolve. "I'm not signing anything. Grandfather chose me for a reason." Claire's perfect red lips twisted into a sneer. "You really think you can run this company? You'll drive it into the ground in months. Face it, Margaret. You're not qualified. You're not good enough. You never have been." "That's enough." A commanding voice rang out from the doorway. We all turned as James Morrison, grandfather's longtime attorney, entered, accompanied by a poised woman in an impeccably tailored suit. "Everyone," James announced, "I'd like to introduce Catherine Chen, CEO of Chen Tech Industries and your grandfather's chosen mentor for the new CEO of Montgomery Technologies." My family went pale as Catherine strode forward, hand extended toward me. "Margaret." She smiled warmly. "Your grandfather spoke so highly of you. I've reviewed your product development proposals. Brilliant work. I look forward to helping you take this company into the future." Dad sputtered, his face turning red. "This is absurd. She can't possibly." Actually, Mr. Morrison stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. "She can, and she will." He pulled a folder from his briefcase, along with a USB drive. "Your father left very specific instructions. He asked me to play this for everyone once the inevitable attempt to force Margaret out was complete." My heart stopped. Grandfather had known. He had always known. The conference room screen flickered to life, and there he was, frail but unyielding in his hospital bed, his sharp eyes burning with resolve. "If you're watching the sea began, then everything has happened exactly as I predicted." I swallowed hard as his gaze, even through the screen, seemed to meet mine. "Margaret, my dear girl, I know they tried to bully you into giving up your inheritance. They never understood why I chose you. It was never about degrees or credentials, it was about character." Tears burned in my eyes as he turned his attention to my parents. To my son and his wife. His voice was heavy with disappointment. I have watched as you favored Claire, dismissing Margaret's potential. You believed an MBA mattered more than resilience, more than integrity. You were wrong. Then his tone hardened. And Claire. Claire stiffened, her lips pressing into a thin line. I've seen how you treat the employees, how you view this company as your personal ATM. That ends now. Margaret will be CEO, with Catherine's guidance. And if any of you try to interfere. He sighed, shaking his head. Well, let's just say there are other documents in that safety deposit box. Documents I doubt you'd want made public. The screen went dark. Silence slammed into the room. Mom clutched at her pearls, her usual performance of a near faint. Dad's face turned a deep, furious purple. Claire sat frozen, her knuckles white against the armrests of her chair. Mr. Morrison cleared his throat. This is just the beginning. There's much more your father left for you, Margaret. Shall we discuss the rest privately? Relief washed over me. 10 years of manipulation, of being told I wasn't enough, of being pushed aside. It was ending now. I stood straightening my shoulders. Yes, I said, my voice steady. I believe we shall. As I followed Mr. Morrison and Catherine out, my fingers brushed against the key pendant at my throat. Grandfather had left me more than just the company. He had given me the strength to stand tall. And something told me this was only the beginning. The storm that followed. The next few weeks unraveled secrets I never could have imagined. In a private meeting with Mr. Morrison and Catherine, I discovered just how thoroughly Grandfather had planned for this moment. Your grandfather left you more than just the company, Mr. Morrison said, setting his briefcase on the table. That key you wear, it opens a safety deposit box at First National Bank. Inside that box, I found decades worth of evidence. Documents detailing my parents' systematic embezzlement of company funds. Emails proving Claire had tried to sell proprietary technology to competitors. And most shocking of all, proof that they had attempted to have Grandfather declared mentally incompetent when he first suggested making me his successor. A second video of Grandfather played, his voice weary but determined. I kept records of everything, he said. I wanted to give them a chance to change, to see Margaret's worth on their own. But they never did. A mentor like no other, Catherine Chen proved to be exactly the guide I needed. A self-made billionaire who had started as an engineer, she understood both the technical and business sides of the industry. Your grandfather reached out to me 6 months ago, she told me over coffee in her sleek office. He said he found a kindred spirit in you, someone who saw technology as a way to change lives, not just make money. Under her guidance, I threw myself into learning every aspect of the business. To my surprise, the board members, many of whom had known Grandfather for decades, welcomed me warmly. Even more unexpected, the flood of employees who came forward with their own stories. Your sister tried to fire me because I wouldn't fudge the numbers for her. Our CFO confided one evening. Your grandfather stopped her. He always protected us from their worst impulses. The final attack. But my family wasn't going down without a fight. They hired lawyers to contest the will, tried to spread rumors about my competency, and then during my first official board meeting as CEO, they played their final desperate card. I stood at the podium, prepared to present my vision for the company's future, when the doors burst open. Mom, Dad, and Claire stormed in, dragging an unfamiliar man behind them. This is Dr. Phillips, Dad declared triumphantly. He's prepared to testify that Father was mentally incompetent when he changed his will. We have documentation. I barely had time to react before Catherine spoke, her voice cutting through the room like steel. Actually, she said smoothly, we have something far more interesting. She nodded toward Mr. Morrison, who pressed a button on his laptop. The conference screen lit up again. Grandfather appeared, looking sharp and alert. The timestamp was dated just 2 weeks before his death. On the video, he sat across from a nervous-looking man, Dr. Phillips himself. So Grandfather's voice came calm and amused. You want me declared incompetent? Dr. Phillips shifted uncomfortably. And my son is paying you how much for this false diagnosis? Silence. Then Grandfather leaned back with a chuckle. Don't worry, doctor. I'm recording this conversation for my granddaughter. When she becomes CEO, she'll know everything. Dr. Phillips turned pale, stepping away from my parents. I need to leave. Oh, stay, Catherine said smoothly, her smile cold. I'm sure the SEC investigators would love to talk to you about medical fraud. I watched as my parents and Claire seemed to deflate, the weight of their defeat settling over them. They hadn't just lost the company, they had lost everything. Their reputations, their power, their carefully curated illusion of respectability. You can't do this to us, Mom wailed. We're family. I met her tearful gaze, my voice steady. Family doesn't try to destroy each other. Family doesn't spend years tearing someone down. I touched the key pendant at my neck, drawing strength from it. Grandfather showed me what real family means, supporting each other, believing in each other, lifting each other up. I let the silence stretch, letting them feel the weight of their own choices before I spoke again. You have two options. Resign quietly from all company positions, sign the non-disclosure agreements Mr. Morrison has prepared, and walk away with your personal assets intact. Claire's voice was barely a whisper. Or we release everything. Every document, every email, every recording. I tilted my head. I'm sure the press would love to hear how the great Montgomery family tried to defraud their own father and daughter. They signed the papers within the hour. 6 months later, Montgomery Technologies was thriving. Our latest innovation, a line of medical devices I had quietly developed during my years in R&D, was transforming patient care. The stock price had doubled. Employee morale was at an all-time high. And grandfather's office, my office now, remained just as he had left it, except for one new addition, a framed photo of us at my engineering graduation, the ceremony he had attended alone while my parents vacationed with Claire. You see possibilities, he had told me that day. Now, sitting at his desk, I finally understood. He had seen me when no one else did, and he had given me the tools to prove them all wrong. Moving forward, one evening, as I was working late, Catherine stopped by. Your grandfather would be proud, she said, glancing around the office. You've exceeded even his expectations. I smiled, fingers brushing the key that still hung around my neck. I had good teachers. And your family? She asked carefully. I exhaled, nodding. They moved abroad. Claire's trust fund will keep them comfortable, but not extravagant. I met her gaze. It's enough. And it was enough. I didn't need their approval anymore. I had something better. Self-respect. Purpose. The knowledge that I had proven myself not through cruelty or revenge, but through hard work and integrity. Just like grandfather had taught me. Giving back. That night, on my drive home, I passed the small diner where I had worked during college. On impulse, I pulled into the parking lot. Inside, the warm scent of coffee and fresh bread filled the air. And there, behind the counter, was Sally, my old manager, still greeting customers with the same kind smile. Margaret Montgomery, she exclaimed, pulling me into a hug. I saw you in the Business Journal, CEO of Montgomery Technologies. Thanks to people like you, I told her sincerely. You gave me shifts that worked around my class schedule, covered for me during finals. I wouldn't be here without people who believed in me. An idea struck me. 2 weeks later, Montgomery Technologies launched a new scholarship program for working students pursuing STEM degrees. We called it the Rose Montgomery Memorial Scholarship after my grandmother, who had always believed in the power of education. The first recipient, Sally's daughter, a girl who dreamed of becoming an engineer. The best revenge. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's living well. It's lifting others up instead of stepping on them. Every morning, I wake up grateful. Not for the money, not for the power, but for the opportunity to innovate, to create, to make a difference. The key around my neck reminds me of where I came from and where I'm going. I am Margaret Montgomery, CEO of Montgomery Technologies, and my grandfather was right. I see possibilities.